How much does Shopify actually cost in 2026? It's literally the million-dollar question every single e-commerce entrepreneur asks when they're setting up shop. And if you've ever tried searching for a straight answer, you've probably hit a massive wall of vague estimates and, well, endless affiliate disclaimers. But today, we're skipping all that fluff. We're going to give you the direct answers you actually need to budget properly. Welcome to today's Explainer. We're unpacking the ultimate source material on this exact topic, the 2026 Shopify Pricing and Fee Breakdown Guide. I'm absolutely thrilled to guide you through this because we're going to demystify the layered reality of running a Shopify store. No more guesswork. So here's the core philosophy you really need to grasp right off the bat. The monthly subscription is just the starting point. I want you to think of Shopify's pricing like a giant iceberg. That flat monthly fee you see advertised, that is literally just the tip sticking out of the water. Below the surface is a massive, complex structure of processing fees, app costs, and hidden transaction charges that can quietly sink your net profit if you aren't prepared for them. Okay, let's dive right into this. Here's our roadmap for today's financial audit. First, the true cost of Shopify. Second, comparing the core plans. Third, the transaction fee trap. Fourth, anatomy of a $100 sale. And finally, number 5, protecting your profit margins. Let's get going. Let's jump straight into section 1, the true cost of Shopify, beyond the subscription. We're going straight below the surface of that iceberg now to uncover what actually affects the cash hitting your bank account at the end of the day. Payment processing fees. These are the card processing rates charged when a customer pays by credit or debit card. And look, this is the first completely unavoidable layer of costs. Every single merchant has to budget for this on every single sale. It doesn't matter how well you optimize your store's conversion rate, right? Whenever a card is swiped in person or entered online, a percentage of that revenue goes toward the secure processing of that transaction. It's just part of the game. Moving on to section 2, comparing the core plans, baseline 2026 pricing. So before we can start identifying how to optimize those hidden fees, we really need to establish the foundational tiers your store will sit on. Now, while Shopify does offer a super lightweight starter plan for, social media link selling and a massive plus plan for enterprise brands starting at $2,300 a month, these 3 core plans right here, Basic, Grow, and Advanced, they dictate the primary setup and processing rates for the vast majority of US merchants. Notice how the monthly price jumps significantly, from $39 on Basic up to $105 on Grow and $399 on Advanced. But notice the trade-off here. As your fixed monthly subscription goes up, your online cart rate actually goes down, from 2.9% plus 30 cents on Basic down to 2.5% plus 30 cents on Advanced. The whole game of e-commerce profitability is all about balancing that fixed monthly cost against your variable processing rates as your sales volume scales. Which brings us directly to section 3, the transaction fee trap, the third-party penalty. All right, this is kind of the narrative plot twist of our explainer today. And honestly, it's the specific, often overlooked fee that catches so many new store owners completely off guard. It really is an us versus them dynamic here. On the one hand, we have Shopify Payments. If you use Shopify's in-house payment system where it's available, they waive extra platform transaction fees for supported methods. It basically acts as a massive strategic loophole. On the other hand, we have third-party gateways. If you decide to use an external payment provider, Shopify essentially penalizes you by adding their own platform fee right on top of whatever your external gateway is already charging you. So the crucial point you absolutely need to remember is that 2%. If you're on the basic plan and you opt for a third-party payment gateway instead of Shopify Payments, Shopify hits you with an extra 2% transaction fee on those eligible orders. Now, 2% might not sound catastrophic in a vacuum, right? But in the e-commerce world, where profit margins are already incredibly tight, giving up an extra 2% of your gross revenue, that takes a massive dent out of your hard-earned profits. No way around it. Now, what's really interesting about this next part, let's transition to section 4, anatomy of a $100 sale, the dollar's journey. Let's anchor all these abstract percentages to a real, tangible reality. Let's break down exactly what Shopify takes on a standard $100 domestic online order when you're using Shopify Payments. On the basic plan, Shopify takes $3.20. Step up to the Grow plan, and that cut drops to $3. On the Advanced plan, it's $2.80. So you can understand how upgrading your plan slowly shaves real dollars off every single $100 transaction that passes through your checkout. But wait, let's see how this compounds when we fall into that transaction trap we just talked about. Let's walk through a $100 sale on the basic plan, but this time the merchant is using a third-party gateway. The external gateway takes their standard processing fee, let's say around 3% depending on the provider, but then look at that extra slice, the 2% Shopify extra fee. Suddenly, your merchant take-home pie is reduced to just 95%. And remember, that's before you've even paid for your product, shipping, or your ads. That extra $2 per $100 stacks up aggressively when you start to scale. Moving into Section 5, protecting your profit margins, submerged costs, and strategies. So how do we actually fight back and optimize this whole shebang? We're pivoting from the problem straight into the solution, focusing purely on operational strategies to defend your bottom line. First things first, you have to be hyper-aware of the rest of the iceberg. Think about these submerged costs. App sprawl, where you're paying monthly for multiple overlapping marketing tools, premium themes and domain renewals. Selling in person? Well, add $89 a month per location for Shopify POS Pro. Hitting high sales volumes? Shopify tax limits suddenly kick in. Syncing your products to Amazon or eBay? Marketplace Connect charges a 1% fee on synced orders after your free allowance. Selling internationally? Expect 1.5 to 2% in cross-border and currency conversion fees. I am rapidly listing these off because I really want you to feel the cumulative weight here. You absolutely have to account for these as you model your store's growth. Which brings me to a highly insightful point straight from our source material. It says, for dropshipping and reseller stores, Shopify fees are only one side of the margin equation. Preventing stock mistakes, stale prices, late tracking updates, and manual fulfillment errors can have a larger impact on profitability. I want you to really think about that. Shaving a fraction of a percent off a payment fee is great, for sure, but avoiding a manual fulfillment error that results in a lost product and a nasty chargeback fee, that is critical operational efficiency that saves you massive headaches, and more importantly, real money. And this is exactly why the source highlights offsetting these platform costs with automation tools like Easync. By utilizing automated product imports, executing real-time stock monitoring, and setting up dynamic repricing rules, you're basically building a shield for your margins. Like if your supplier's costs shift suddenly, Easync automatically adjusts your storefront prices so you never accidentally sell an item at a loss. It completely removes the manual, tedious errors that quietly drain your profitability over time. It's a real game changer. So to tie this all together, let's map out the exact logical decision-making process for upgrading your Shopify plan. That way, you know precisely when to pull the trigger. Step 1, track your consistent monthly sales volume. You need predictable baseline numbers here, not just a one-off good week. Step 2, calculate the payment fee savings you'd get by dropping down to the lower processing rates on the next tier up. And Step 3, simply upgrade your plan when those transaction fee savings exceed the cost of the subscription jump. It's pure math, guys. For example, once the fraction of a percent you save on processing outweighs that $66 monthly difference between the basic and grow plans, boom, you upgrade. I want to leave you with this final provocative thought. Are you managing a store, or is the platform managing your profits? Seriously, every unaudited app subscription, every unoptimized payment gateway, and every manual pricing error is just you handing a slice of your profits over. Take the structured insights we've gone through today, audit your store's setup, run the math on your break-even points, and take control of your margins. Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer, and keep learning out there.